First of all, you entertain.
Yeah.
The second thing you do is you educate and inform.
Yeah.
And you do that subtly.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hit anybody over the head with it.
Yeah.
You simply give it to them in a way that they can think about. And it's up to them to use it or not. That's not up to me. You know, when you close a chapter, you want to have it mean something to someone.
Yeah.
You want to tell somebody's story. You know, the Color of Justice, which had a really nice impact in life. We've talked about it in the past. That was inspired. I was sitting backstage in the green room at Good Morning America, and I happened to be on that program talking about one of my books, nonfiction book, and I was talking to, you know, a black representative who had marched with Martin Luther King.
Oh, that's so cool.
And he shared his story with me. And, you know, his story was not one I could use. It was his story.
Yeah.
But his story also was a prism of what other stories were. And he told me what life was like in the 50s and 60s for Cummings and others who were in these marches with King. And therefore, John Lewis, Representative John Lewis, who inspired this book.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't his story, but if I had never talked to him, I would have never had that book in my head. It took me years to come up with it.
Yeah.
But it was meeting John Lewis that did that.
Yeah.
And also, John Lewis did something else that I've never included in any books, but it's enhanced my life a great deal. John Lewis inspired me so much about the integration of schools that I would find people who were older black folks, and I would find out if they integrated their school or not. It's one of the questions I asked. And if they did, I would sit down for an hour or two and just have them tell me that story.
Yeah.
And I didn't include it in books. I don't feel that I'm capable of including it in books because I'm a white guy.
I understand that.
But it gave me a better understanding of what they went through.
Yeah.
And my goal was to understand and to also realize that these elementary school kids and junior high kids who did this integration had a courage that you normally see on battlefields.
Yeah.
And therefore, by understanding that, by hearing graphically what they went through, one, I was able to have a great deal more empathy and understanding. And in some of my writings, possibly pass that along. That's not my story. But knowing their story, I think, makes me an individual with a greater depth of understanding about what America was and also what it can be.
Yeah.
And therefore, what it was is here, what it can be is here, and therefore your job in writing is to build the bridge between the two places to get us from this point to that point. Here's where we were then. We're about right here now. We've still got a ways to go.
Yeah.
And every time you're going to make a monumental change, you're going to have people rise up against it and fight it. Your job is to wade through that and keep telling the story. And that's what I've tried to do. And it's being inspired by people like John Lewis, who passed away a couple of years ago.